Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
That was amazing. I'm so.
Alright, but yo, welcome back to Real Talk, the podcast that has moral dilemmas outside of camera, then completely backtracks and
Yeah. And
continues doing what they're doing.
we're not changing for nobody. Fuck you, all other real talks. We
uh,
not we we changing the industry.
for real. Yeah, it's lit.
Uh,
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 to explain, I had a moral dilemma. I'm like, oh, there's a media company that uses, or there's a podcast channel owned by like I think a group or company. They're called Real Talk that talks about movies, and I'm like, maybe we might have to change the name. But then I'm like,
right,
and then we thought about it, and I'm like, it feels wrong. So, fuck you, bitch.
right.
All right, but
You were stressed about that a little bit. It
I
sounded like. I
was.
mean, we didn't talk about it. We were talking over Discord, but not a voice chat. And it seems like there's a little bit of stress going
I
on.
was because here's the thing. I've had pretty bad run-ins with DMCA on
Oh shit!
Twitter. I remember I sent a meme and it got DMCA takedown noticed. So I
I
had
didn't
a.
even know Twitter had DMCA. What?
I mean, a takedown notice can be sent anywhere. I just never expected it to be sent from a Twitter reply, let alone a meme I didn't make. So
Someone
yeah.
copyrighted the meme? Like someone copyrighted the meme.
No, okay. So it was Yandere Dev singing the Big Time Rush theme, and I don't know if the systems flagged it or someone reported it, which I highly doubt. It didn't have many views, but I got a official cease and desist notice from the record label who owns the song Big Time Rush, from the show Big Time Rush.
You know what's
And
funny? I have a coworker that's going to go see a Big Time Rush show. I didn't even know that they were still a thing from that Nickelodeon TV. Were they Nick or were they Disney?
they were, I believe, Nick. Yeah, it should be like Nick, Teen Nick or something.
Yeah. I didn't even know that they were still a thing. Like I didn't know that that was an actual attempt at making a boy band.
Well, I don't think it was. I think there's the songs in the show are copyrighted. Because it's
Right,
like,
but they go touring though. They have like concerts.
well, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like, isn't it like the people who are the group like an actual band?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, they're an actual band called Big Time Rush, but I didn't know that like
No,
I thought after the show ended, I thought Big Time Rush ended.
I don't think Big Time Rush is an actual show. I mean, band. I think it's like, hold on.
The Big Time Rush show that you remember from summer was never real.
Holy shit. Yeah, no, it's an actual group. What?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I was saying, like, I always thought that it was just like a cartoon. Like, you know, the Jonas Brothers had their own cartoon show on
Uh-huh.
Disney. So Big Time Rush, I think was I don't think it was in response to that because I think Big Time Rush and like the Jonas Brothers show was like
Mhm.
a little bit apart. But like they I didn't know that they were a real thing outside of Big Time Rush, the TV show. Like I thought, oh,
Yeah.
they're doing this TV show. They have a boy band. The TV show finished. The boy band's done because Big Time Rush
Yeah.
was not as big as people thought. Like Big Time
Okay.
Rush was a cartoon and then or a TV show, and then
TV
as
show,
soon as
yeah.
it was done, I stopped thinking about it, and I've continued to stop thinking about it until recently, where I've learned that they're still like an active music band.
Okay, so MTV.com says, why did Big Time Rush break up? After 4 seasons of 3 albums, the squad split up in 2013 so the members could work on their own music.
Yeah, I know that. I think one of them had a pretty successful solo career, which is
Mm-hmm.
surprising. I think it was the guy that always wore the safety helmet. It was the safety guy.
They're doing a tour and they're coming to Texas nearby me. I could go to this concert.
Dude, give us a some guy insider on the Big Time Rush concert. Can we get that?
I don't think.
Entertainment Weekly with the with the real talk.
Oh my god, that's so weird. The show went
Real.
on. Their IMDb says 2009 to 2013,
But they're back, baby.
and they uploaded a song, "Not Giving You Up," in February 25th, 2020.
What?
Maybe we thought that they were a fake band, but maybe it was a TV show off of a real band.
Was that maybe it? Because I always thought the TV show came first and then the band came later.
Yeah,
And then when the TV show was done, the band was done. But was it?
I'm confused. Yeah, I have no idea.
What came first, the band or the TV show? It's the age-old question.
Wow.
Came first, Big Time Rush
Such a good tangent.
or Big Time Rush? Question mark.
Real. Yeah,
Alright,
their
so
website's pretty nice.
Let's see here. Big Time Rush, the group, American pop group, band formed in 2009. Big Time Rush, the TV show. Big Time Rush is American musical sitcom. I'm reading off of Wikipedia, so this could be wrong. Created by Scott Fellows, that originally aired on Nickelodeon from November 28th, 2009 to July 25th,
so it was
2013.
nice.
So they both formed in the same year, but which was first?
Maybe it was the band first, but they became a TV show as a marketing ploy. Which isn't...
They initially signed. The group is composed of Kendall Schmidt, James Maslow, Logan Henderson, and Carlos Penavega. Carlos Penavega is the guy that was the safety nerd. He's the guy that I think got a really good solo career or something like that. They initially signed with Nick Records in 2009 and then transferred to Columbia Records. The group started Nickelodeon's television series of the same name. The show, yeah.
So the show was first, and then they became an actual band.
I don't know. It could be the band formed a couple months before the show.
I don't
know.
That's
You know
kind
what?
of weird.
More than likely, they all auditioned for Nick, and then Nick found those 4 guys, and they're like, okay, you guys are going to be a band now, and then they formed them into a band, and they got their record deal. It could have been something like that.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's
Released-
interesting.
The group has released 3 studio albums: BTR in 2010. Oh, yeah, they're Elevate in 2011, and 24/7, with 7 being spelled in letters, but 24 being numbers in 2013. The band went on to an indefinite hiatus in 2014 that lasted until 2021, when the group resumed live performances and released the single called "Call It Like I See It."
Oh my!
What is this rabbit hole?
This is
Big
not
Time Summer.
something I never would have expected any of this.
I like to. Oh my gosh, they've grown up now. Wait a minute. Carlos Penavega, what happened to your hair? Where's your helmet? They got merch. Yo,
Yeah.
look, they look like they're having a good time. They look
That's crazy. Yeah.
VIP, the Big Time Rush
tour.
app. What?
Huh?
Big Time Rush, the Big Time Rush official fan app.
Oh,
We built our own app so we can hang out with you. We are going live, posting and commenting. Come join. No way they made their own social media app. Just it might be some. Go live. Watch Big Time Rush band members go live only in the app. Get notified via push. Share what you think in the comments and read as the band comment along and respond. They created their own streaming platform just for their own little band. That's adorable.
It's like what Trump did with his own social media. They made their own Truth Social.
He made his own Trump made his own social?
You didn't know that?
No, I don't care about that man at all.
Oh, dude, I kept up with his Twitter during like peak pandemic because that shit went crazy.
Dude, that's wild.
He got banned on Twitter. So
Did
he got banned on Twitter and like pretty much every social media platform. I wonder why. And he made his own thing called Truth Social.
I thought you were gonna say that he got banned from his own social media form.
Probably, I don't know.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, he made his own thing called Truth Social, and it's chaos for sure. I've never been on it, but I'm curious. Maybe one day I might check it out just to see how fucking bad it is. Oh, it's such a weird tangent. But speaking of bands, what we were talking about before the pod, a little bit before convo, I bought a bass amp, so I'm getting ready to learn bass guitar. Do you already know bass? I'm pretty sure you do, right?
I've had bass for a little. I've had bass for a little bit. What do you call? I've had it for about 4 years. One quick second. Can you hear anything in the background right now?
No, I mean Discord is kind of shitty, so I probably wouldn't.
All right, dope, awesome. I'm just curious. There's a little bit of loud noise in my room. Apologies for that. We can cut that. We can cut that. Cut that. I've had I've had a bass for about 4 years now. I was given a bass, a really crappy hand-me-down bass from a gentleman that
Oh.
helps my family out around our property a bit. Super nice guy, super forgiving, and he gave me one of his super old dingy basses, and I learned off of that, and it was really cool. I just kind of slapped on it. I kind of learned basic techniques on this
Mm.
really bad bass.
So you're
Um,
Bochi the Rock.
yeah, I,
I,
I'm cautious about saying yes because I don't know who that is.
it's
Oh wait, no, I've heard. Wait a minute,
it's
that's
yeah,
that.
it's anime.
There's an. I know it's an anime. I don't know what it's about.
It's about a socially anxious girl who learned guitar because she wanted to be a star and have friends, or mainly just to
Hmm.
make friends. So she took his father's hand-me-down and just started practicing. And then she joins a band, and that's the whole show is about their band growing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Bro thinks he's Bochi the Rock. That's the first thing I said when I got my bass. Although Bochi doesn't play bass, she plays electric guitar.
That's still cool. Honestly, I respect electric guitar. This is gonna be a really dumb reason for anyone that cares for music ever.
Mhm.
I don't. The reason why I avoid guitar is because 6 strings is too much for me to handle at once. I can hardly comprehend the musical theory behind n- four strings
Strings.
on a bass.
Mhm.
I don't need a fifth string. I don't need a sixth string. It's too much. So it's like the tuning gets all weird too, because like if you don't, and if you're not familiar with string instruments, the traditional tuning for modern day basses and stuff, or guitars in general, goes E, A, D, and G.
Mhm.
But with the fifth string bass, you make that fifth string, or I think even with the guitar as well, the fifth string turns into a B, and then the sixth string on our guitar goes back to E.
Mm. So
But
like
with basses,
open
if you have a fifth string, you make your you with basses, what you would make the string that's traditionally supposed to be an E, you tune that to a drop B, and then you go E A D G because the B registers better on a lower note than it does on a higher note.
Mm.
It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
Fifth,
it's
fifth
weird.
strings are weird. Odd stringed instruments are interesting.
So whenever I was buying, okay, by the way, so the bass I bought, it's Sire M2,
Nice.
and I don't know if you know what Sire is, but I didn't know what Sire was until my assistant band director told me. Now
Yeah.
I was wanted to learn bass. So basically, here's what happened. I watched Bochi the Rock, and I said, "Man, I'm really not having fun with my instruments that I'm playing." But I've always
Hmm.
wanted to play piano and bass guitar, so I
Oh
said,
yeah.
"Fuck it, I'll learn bass guitar." So after watching Bochi the Rock, I told my band director the very next day. Not my band director, my assistant band director. So yeah, I said, "Hey, do you want to teach me bass guitar?" He said, "Sure." And I said, "Sweet." And then I realized that I don't have time, so I said, "I'm probably gonna buy my own bass." And he said, "Cool." And I said, "Yeah, just help me out with it." And one day we were like, "So my friend told me about this company named Sire," and I said, "Oh, okay. It's like they make good basses, very good quality, for pretty cheap." And I'm like, because he was like, "I don't want you to buy a bass on your own and buy a shitty one," because his bass was like from Amazon, and it was like really bad. So
Hmm.
what we did was I bought a Sire M2 complete. I think I sent you a photo. Probably not
Uh,
of my
I mean, you sent
bass.
me the little screenshot. No, not of your base. No, I'd love
Oh,
to see it.
okay.
My base
So
is a Sterling Stingray, if anyone
ah,
knows. I don't know anything about bass brands, though. I
same.
just found a very nice bass with active.
Active
Shit,
noise
there's a term.
cancellation. Goofy
Well, no,
ass.
because it's got to do with the
No,
it's got to
that's
do
it.
with the pickup plates. Like you put a 9 volt in the back of it, and like it helps like with the active gain or something like that.
No,
Active
yeah,
and passive basses.
that,
That's right.
yeah, that was a headphone joke. A lot of headphones come with active. Yeah,
Oh shit. Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Let's run that back,
Run it back.
run it back.
Yeah, but I bought the I bought this black Sire M2, and I found an
Oh,
official case
nice.
for $50, which is nice.
Oh, nice.
It looks sexy as hell, and I was like, ooh, the black on
I
black.
love that. I
Yeah,
really like that. I
nice.
like that.
I'll put a picture
I
up.
like how it's one consistent color.
Hmm.
Mine is. Well, shoot, let me get. Now I have to send a picture. No one.
Here, you can find it. I'll continue talking.
Yeah.
So my assistant band director, he bought the M5. He bought a 5 string, and it's instead of it being like black. It's like a more of a wood grain finish, and it looks really cool. So
Mm.
he has a 5-string, I have a 4-string. His cost 900, mine cost 500. So we spent pretty decent money on it. I also bought a tuner, the gig bag. I bought a book to teach me bass, so I want to actually properly learn how to do bass because I want to do bass for fun, but also mainly I want to do it for college because I want to do jazz studies. But okay, so I guess my instrument background real quick, just a quick rundown. Everyone starts in elementary school playing the recorder. Didn't really like it, but I always said, ooh, I want to learn the instrument with the long slidey thing. So I went to my middle school, never tried out on an instrument, and they gave me a euphonium. So I played euphonium for 5 years, and then my sophomore year of high school, I got switched to tuba and bass trombone. Bass trombone for jazz band, and then tuba for regular band and marching band. So I've been playing tuba and bass trombone for 2 years now, and I recently just switched back to euphonium, but I kind of realized I hate trombone. I don't want to do tuba professionally, and euphonium isn't really. I love the instrument, but I wouldn't want to do it professionally either.
Right.
And I have a couple of reasons why, but I'm not going to get too deep into that. So I said, well, I want to do jazz, but I fucking hate trombone. So I'm not going to do trombone or jazz. So I decided to buy a bass guitar, and that's also why I wanted to learn bass. I'm like, I want to do jazz on bass on an instrument because I've always wanted to do either piano or bass. So I was like, this is it. I'm gonna do it. So I just bought the amp, so now I can practice at home. It's gonna come in, I think, on Monday, which is kind of nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, W.
Dude,
Poggers! Oh my god! No way!
Poggers!
But yeah, you can find your image.
That's badass.
Yeah.
I took these base pictures might not be that great. I have really bad phone. I don't have the greatest phone camera. It works, but the quality of photos.
It functions.
It works.
Yeah.
You know what? It functions, and honestly, that's all I really care about. But they might not be as good as yours. But they're also the lighting in my room is ass.
Yeah.
You can see all the fingerprints and like the hand oils on like the base plate.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it looks nice.
It does not. Don't.
I mean, it
not at the moment.
Not at the moment, but like if it was brand new, it'd look fire.
Yeah, it is. If it's it was very lightly used. It's a very lightly used bass.
If you're
in great condition, the trussel rod isn't screwed up, and that's the only real thing that I'm worried about when my bass. I don't want the trussel rod to be. For those of you that don't know about stringed instruments such as the bass or guitar, if you have a wooden neck, what they have in the inside center of that bass neck is something called a trussel rod. And with that trussel rod, what you can do is you can adjust the bend of the trussel rod because wood warps during the changing of the seasons.
I have no idea what you're talking about, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh, so okay. I was kind of explaining it for anyone who might not know what it is. But in general, what a trussel rod is, it's this little coiled, this coiled wire slash kind of like a bar almost. That's kind of is bendy. And there's a little screw at the very bottom of the bass neck where it connects to the bass head, and you use like a little wing nut, and what you can do is you can or an Allen wrench, and you twist that to the left or right in order to make the wire inside the bass neck curve out convex, or you can make it curve in concave, and it bends the wood of the bass neck ever so slightly to adjust for humidity changes and temperature during the changes of the season. So it keeps your wooden neck from warping.
Did not know that. I should.
Yeah, because if you have a warped bass neck, it's going to cause fret buzz, and so that's what a trussel rod is. My old basses, both of my old basses, one I couldn't adjust the trussel rod because the wing nut section was like broken off and was soldered shut. And then the third, my second bass, this trussel rod was completely seized. On top of that, the guy shaved the frets flat, which creates fret buzz. You don't want flat frets. That's another music reason. But this one, I can adjust the trussel rod. The frets aren't shaved flat, so the only reason why there's fret buzz is because I'm not good at picking the bass string properly. So that's just a form thing that I got to work on.
Okay.
But
I'm brand new to bass. Like I've never played it before. So
yeah, most at least modern day electric guitars and basses, their necks have a trussel rod inside, so you can adjust for for temperature changes and stuff.
See, for me, I come from a brass background, so
Yeah.
I know about like, so like for a typical high school band or college band, I guess to explain my knowledge is that I can play every single low brass instrument in the entire band.
What is
And
maintenance of a brass instrument like? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
brass maintenance, it depends. Literally, it depends on the instrument. So the three main low brass instrument that you would see is euphonium, trombone, maybe a bass trombone, and tuba.
Okay.
So euphonium is a valved instrument, and you can get a valved trombone, but most tuba, but most tubas are pedals, and then trombones are tuning slides, just entirely just the slide. So to do maintenance on your instrument, one, you have to this goes for every instrument, you have to grease the tuning slides so that they don't get stuck, which I haven't done with my euphonium yet, and my director is going to yell at me, but I need to do that. And then you need for euphonium, the valves you press to change the notes and make the air flow through the instrument itself, you have to oil it with valve oil, and I haven't done that. That's why my valves. Otherwise, your valves get sticky and they don't move, and which could cause damage. And also, if you don't oil it, that means whenever you do need to oil it, another time it's going to be a pain in the ass to do. I can't even unscrew the caps to open the valves, so oof. For a trombone, instead of oiling it, you put like this. Oh, you can put valve oil, but there's like trombone slide grease or like lubricant you can buy. It looks like cum. I'll just be honest with you, and you just do that, or you do a spray. And I learned a little bit more about trombone maintenance. You can also, my private lesson teacher who's teaching me jazz on trombone, he told me that you water your instrument damp with the towel, dry the towel a little bit, and then clean it, and then do oil, and then do water again. And then same thing with the tuning slides. You gotta lube them up with like a different, like just lubricant. And then for tuba, this is the instrument I know how to do maintenance on the least. It has a tuning slides, so you can have to obviously oil those up with lubricant. By the way, in my middle school band, we used Vaseline, which I don't think you're supposed to use. And was it for the pedals? I don't know what to do, but I think you can just put like oil on it, and it'll like make it like less sticky. Since it's not like a slide valve mechanism, that's not like you have to open anything up. There's a little pedal, so you just press it down, like work it.
I don't know why my head goes to this space, but you explaining how to like maintain like the low brass instruments, I just think of like them growing out of the ground like little garden plants, and like either your band teacher comes out and like has a watering can filled with oil, or just a garden hose filled with oil, and just like sprays them down with like oil baths and shit.
So I know how to repair all my instruments. Do I do the proper maintenance? Fuck no, I do not. But
how long does it take to like maintain like an instrument? Like how long if you start from finish?
It's well, it just depends on what you need. If you need to oil your valves, it could take like a couple minutes. It doesn't take too long. Like I've oiled 2 valves during a warm-up sequence, and like we were still doing our warm-up, so it doesn't take too long. It's just whenever you haven't maintained it, that's when it takes forever.
I see. Do you know what like the oil lubricant is like consists of? Do you know what it's made out of?
No, I just know that it looks like slurp juice or it's clear. I know the brand.
I'm curious about that. Huh.
Yeah. It's annoying to do. I hate touching oil and I hate getting my hands dirty, so yeah. But that's how you do brass instruments. Brass instruments are weird. So I don't know. I guess I have a lot of brass knowledge, so that's I started music from brass, if you're not counting that elementary recorder that they forced us to play. So most of my knowledge is from bass clef, playing low brass instruments, and even shifting octave down for tuba and bass clef. So yeah, it's kind of weird going from a brass to a string, but I want to do string and keys on the keyboard, so eventually I was going to leave low brass, because it's not that I hate brass, but if I was ever going to return to those instruments, I would probably only return to euphonium.
Right, because that's just kind of like you start off with that type thing.
I started off with it, even though I think my best instrument's tuba. Tuba is really easy to get good at if you know what you're doing. It is a hard instrument. Everyone thinks tuba is easy. I'm gonna say it right now. Tuba is hard as hell, but once you get good at it, and since I did 3 instruments at once. Like I have a knack for learning instruments. So tuba I'm probably the best at because this year was my second year of playing tuba, and we have this thing like auditions that we have to do, and I didn't make the state state band, like the best people in the state, but I got pretty damn close, and I was fighting against people who were playing tuba for like 8 years. So the fact that a guy with 2 years is able to compete with that is pretty fucking good. Same with trombone, except I kind of suck at trombone, but I mainly would rather return to euphonium because I think it sounds beautiful, and I think it's a good. I mean, euphonium literally means beautiful, good sound, good sounding. That's literally what it means. So I think it's a beautiful instrument. I think it's.
What
very
is the
technical.
Origins of euphonium? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I don't know the origins, but to put it into perspective, all the instruments we play are super, super old, right?
Right. Yeah, because I know, like, I think the saxophone was invented in Belgium in like the 1400s?
It was based off the clarinet. I know that.
Saxophone. When was it created?
I don't know. It was like a really long time ago. But euphoniums, on the other hand,
saxophone was developed in the 1840s.
Oh wow, saxophone's pretty new too. Euphoniums are very new. Like, I mean, yeah, they're old. Like, they're still hundreds of years old. But like,
how do you spell that?
I can type it for you, but like out of all the instruments, they're so new that you can't professionally play in orchestras because there's no classical orchestra pieces made for euphoniums because they just didn't exist.
Whoa.
So that's also why I don't want to do euphonium professionally, even though I like the instrument. You have to be so good at the instrument, and you can't even join an orchestra because they just don't have music for you.
They just don't. Interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't an instrument back then, so they never could have made music for it. Yeah, Bach couldn't do shit. Yeah. Bach wasn't shit. Fucking Mr. Beethoven wasn't shit, bro. The shit wasn't real, and it's crazy because euphonium is very popular outside of America, like extremely popular.
It also was developed in the 1840s.
Yeah, like being developed that new is pretty insane, especially for the music world where everything's so old, and a lot of like the things you learn is old. Like, it's called music theory, but in reality, it's just theory about European old people music. You know what I mean? Right. But like the standard is just that. So everything is old. That's probably why I also not doing brass instruments, because unless if I was doing trombone, I can't go far in doing genres that I like. Because if I was playing tuba, I would either be playing marches or classical music. Same with euphonium, kind of. But I don't like old stuff from that era. I don't like European music. Like, I don't jam out to Bach. I don't hate classical music. I just never want to play it.
It's just not your cup of tea.
Not my thing. No.
I've been looking into these brass instruments that you're talking about, and I found this one. They call it. What is happening here? Send. No, just send the image. God damn you. Send. Stop doing
tragic.
that. There we go.
What
God, Discord. It's called They call it the Serpent. The Serpent, the oldest ancestor of all low brass instruments.
That's gas. I need to research that. That's fire.
The Serpent is a low-pitched early brass instrument developed in the Renaissance era with a trombone-like mouthpiece and tone holes, later with keys, like a woodwind instrument. It is named for its long, conical bore bent into a snake-like shape, and unlike most brass instruments, is generally made from wood, usually walnut. And covered with dark brown or black leather.
So it's a woodwind instrument with a brass mouthpiece.
Yeah, a distant ancestor of the tuba.
That is weird. That is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I like brass, but not enough to do it professionally. So
these serpent, just looking at these serpent like items and like instruments is wild. It is such a wild thing. Looking at people hold them is even stranger. It's such a surreal.
I will edit these images in for sure because this looks weird. That is.
Have you ever heard of speaking of old instruments? Have you ever heard of the theorbo?
No, I don't know shit about instruments, to be honest with you.
The theorbo? Oh, theorbo, dude, the theorbo.
Oh, bro, the classic, good old classic Theorba. That is weird.
Do you see that? Do you know what? Do you see it? It's Theo.
No, I'm looking at the serpent real quick.
Oh, the serpent. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is such a. Ooh, that's goofy.
There's so many cool. It does it. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, that's so cool!
Yeah,
It's
that's a serpent boy right there.
bruh, blowing into that thing, your entire body must shake, right? Like just those residual vibrations.
I love weird instruments. They
Yeah.
blow my mind.
So the Theorbo, there's a really cool video about do you know Rob Scallon?
No.
He's a music YouTuber. He usually does
Wait,
educational deep dive.
How do you spell Theorbo?
Theorbo is Theorbo. Theorbo. I discovered it from this YouTuber named Rob Scallon. He does music videos. He does music videos and like musical deep dives and stuff, just kind of about wacky instruments sometimes. And he did one on the Theorbo, and it's super interesting. The guy is super intelligent about the Theorbo. He knows the history of it. He explains about equal temperaments and shit. It goes places. It's one of my favorite videos ever. That's a super. Is
it like the predecessor to the guitar?
There's a separate video where he explains the history of the lute, the guitar, and how like the guitar family just branches out. The Theorbo is a plucked string instrument of the lute. This is off of Wikipedia again. The Theorbo is a plucked string instrument of the lute family with an extended neck, like super super long neck. You know, like in bass guitar neck.
Yeah.
Double that neck, and that's the bass neck for a Theorbo. With an extended neck and a second peg box. Like a lute, the Theorbo has a curved back sound box with a wooden top, typically with a sound hole and a neck extending out from the sound box. As with the lute, the player plucks or strums the strings with one hand while fretting the strings with the other hand. Pressing the strings in different places on the neck produces different pitches and notes. Traditionally, these Theorbos use gut strings. So for people that might not know, historically, metal frets are a very new invention. Historically, like with lutes and any old mandolin or old string guitars, they would use animal gut and they would tie it on their fret neck, and then they would shift. The gut wasn't on there strong enough for it to stay in place, so they would actually slide those frets in their various places to get clean, strange tones. And so they used to play an equal temperament. There's a whole video on it from Rob Scallon interviewing this guy who classically plays the Theorbo. But it was this it's a super big long instrument, and they created it. It has super high notes, but it also has like two strings that are super low bassy notes. It's super weird. This instrument enables the performer to play chords, bass lines, and melodies. It is related to the luito attoribato, the French Theorbo des pièces. I got the Italian. I can't do the French. The arc lute. It's related to the arch lute, the German Baroque lute, and the Angelica. The Theorbo differs from I don't know. I could keep. I could either keep reading through this Wikipedia article, which sounds boring, or I could just say go check out Rob Scallon's video on the Theorbo. Really cool instrument.
So I got two things. One, my favorite weird instrument has to be the contrabass flute.
Oh, the contrabass flute?
Yeah, or whatever it's called. It's the contrabass flute. It is the lowest pitch you can pretty much ever make on an instrument. It is not the tuba. It is the contrabass flute. That can make the lowest sound possible for an instrument. It is a giant flute that you have to put on a stand and play. And it looks crazy. But also, my favorite music channel that I follow is Adam Neely. I don't know if you know him. He's a bass player.
Yeah, I know. I've seen Adam Neely's stuff. I watched his video explanation of Seabat and like why it sounds weird, but why it's actually not bad music and stuff. I love music theory. I don't fully comprehend it, but I love learning about it. It's just so cool. I don't know. It's a neat. They're best rabbit holes to go down on the music rabbit holes.
Yeah, Adam Neely is my favorite. He also kind of inspired me to not to pursue my dreams and not settle for less, because I was originally going to do tech, and I'm like, this dude is having so much fun with music, and I want to do that, and that's why I'm doing sound engineering and also just being a jazz musician. So he's a bit of an inspiration. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he plays bass, so bass.
Yeah. I also saw his video on a deep dive of the jazz and like kind of the characters and just the music in general in the movie Whiplash. I saw his kind of critique and analysis of that movie, and it was really interesting to get like an actual jazz performer's experience with the movie having to deal with the competitiveness of jazz.
Jazz is very competitive. Whenever I went to a jazz festival, I was like, what? Jazz festivals they're something. So basically, most jazz festivals, at least if not in the gigging world, but because I'm still in school, so most jazz festivals are held in college campuses, and you go there, you play jazz, and it's very competitive. So it's judges, you play on a stage, and you have to just outplay everyone else, and they give out awards to like certain things like best improv solo and all that jazz. I think our very first one we did horrible, but our second one, no, I don't remember. It's either our first one we did good or our second one we did good. We did better on one of them, but we got third place on one of them, so that was cool. But jazz festivals are scary, especially with how good people are.
I don't doubt it. I know that there's a competitive aspect to music. I always kind of figured that the competitiveness came into getting accepted into music schools.
Oh no, the marching band is another good example. People may argue if it's a sport or not, and I'm not gonna fucking debate about that because it is. But fucking, it's marching band is competitive as hell. Like, my band director is very competitive about marching band. To give an example, to go back to our jazz thing, for our jazz festival, he forced us to memorize our music, and before going on stage, when he signed up to the jazz festival, he requested to give every single member a stand, and what he wanted us to do was grab our folders, put it on the stand, and then flip the stand over and push the stand to the side and just start playing. Like, just to show off, because it's toxic. Like, he wanted us to do that, and we did it. And then like some people in like the crowd were like, "Whoa," like, "Oh, they don't need music, huh?" And then
they don't need their sheets. They don't need their sheets. Holy shit!
I think we're
your camera. Get it out.
We were one of the few bands to not play with music, so yeah, not playing with music definitely helps show off more. But he engineered our new uniforms to reflect the sun to blind the judges. Like, it's very competitive.
What?
Yeah, our hats and our hats are made because you're supposed to angle your body towards the judges. So we have reflective things because since it's in the middle of summer, the sun's gonna beam, and essentially the goal is to like have blind spots for the judges, so it's hard to see our feet when we're marching, just to mask any mistakes. Not that we're gonna make any mistakes, but just in case you do. And our shoulder pads, we have shoulder pads with glitter outlining that's gray, and the whole point of that is to show that our body's completely straight and that none of us are crooked. So it just shows, like, I guess it's more of a flexing. So if we look bad, we lose points for it, and it's very obvious. But if we look good, it's very obvious that we look good. So it's very competitive.
I feel like that almost seems like you think that the judges would have caught on. Like, it's like reflective toes on your band uniform boots. They're hiding something. Their footwork's not good. I guess they can't just prematurely dock you points, but no, I feel like
we could just say, oh, we don't know that our thing was reflective, because it's not like we tell anyone, but our hats are very much have reflective material for that purpose. And dude, the judges, like, they will dock points. Like, they will dock like 0.1 points, and like you can, like, we've lost tournaments like by 3 points before, just because someone's hair was too fluffy and it did not look well with the uniform, or one person was off one step. It is super competitive.
That just seems like blatant discrimination. It's like, you lost a hair. Like,
here's the thing, that it's a marching band, and I guess because marching band's origins comes from military marching, So that's why it's so strict for a reason, because it was based off of the military for sure. So yeah, that's why it's so strict. But also, it's like you're doing a performance as well. You're performing a show. By the way, there's timing penalties. So if your show's too long and if you don't leave on time, you will get docked points, or even disqualified. So it's based off of military marching. You have to look the same. So if you're not marching the same, and if your uniforms don't look the same, then they should dock points off of it. That's their mindset, which I kind of agree with. The whole point is to be very similar. Some marching bands are so strict that they don't even allow like people to wear glasses. Like there's a high school band that I know that they forbid glasses, and they said either you go blind or you wear contacts. And they also like, oh, you're not allowed to wear makeup. Like, not at all. You won't look the same. You're not allowed to wear makeup. Completely forbidden. They'll dock us points, which that can be true, unless if it fits your show.
With the knowledge that it gets its origins in the military, I guess makes better sense, because in military you're not supposed. They shave your head bald. I don't know if this is related, but they shave your head bald when you go into the military, right? Like boot camp and shit.
Yeah,
or do they not do that anymore?
They probably do, but like it's very much like a boot camp, because every time you start a marching season, you do summer marching band camp, and it is 8 hours of grueling heat, especially since I live in Texas, which is notoriously hot. It is 8 hours of grueling heat, nonstop for 4 hours in my part, and then ours is like 4 hours of marching, 1 hour of lunch, and then no, not 1 hour of lunch, a couple hours of lunch, and then the rest of the time is dedicated to just learning the show music. And it's like it can be fun, but it is literally just a boot camp all the way through. And every single day you do runs, you do correction, do runs, hire people to make sure you look good. It's a struggle. Marching band, and that's why I get annoyed when people are like, it's not a sport. Dude, it's so much work. Like, I can say our marching band works harder than our football team, and we obviously make more results for it. There's a lot of high school bands and even college bands that their marching band does more exercise and does more physical war labor than their football team. Well, maybe not colleges. I'm not too sure, because a lot of colleges are good, but for high school, for sure. Because our football team sucks ass. They don't put in any work. But our marching band is we're trying to be the best in our division, and we're the best in our district now. So
that's
so
wild. This is wild to hear.
Music is very competitive.
First off, you admitted that there's such thing as a bad Texas football team. Second off,
the Dallas Cowboys fucking suck as well, but
it's like I can't imagine just being part of a marching band at all, let alone being part of one that practices in Tech. I've been to Austin, Texas. That shit sucks. It's hot. It's humid. I'm from Northern California. I like to go outside. I like to run around the sun. I like to swim in water. I can't do any of that shit in Austin, Texas. Outside is blazing hot, but you feel like it's either sweat or it's just the outside humidity, and I can't go into water because apparently there's crocodiles or some shit.
I've never seen a crocodile before.
I don't know. That's what my cousins told me. They could have just been pranking me to make me think that Texas is awful.
No, Texas is fucking awful. Don't get me wrong.
Well, also, I can't enjoy a picnic in Austin, Texas either, because every single field that exists in that part of the state, ants. Ants, man.
No one talks about it, but we have brutal fire ants, dude.
You have terrible ants. I got bit by one, and it's like when I'm in Northern California, we have these little ants that they run on you, they bite you. It's not too bad. If you squish them, they smell really nasty. Like that. That's the kind of ants we have up around here. We have carpenter ants, but they don't bug you if you don't bug them. Your ants, they bite you. I'm like, Like that, it's terrible.
I have a crazy. Okay, so I was walking my dog one day, and this is day before a competition, like marching band competition. I stood on an ant pile without even realizing, because of how hidden it is. Like, these ants hate me. Either they build really big nests, or you just can't see them, and it bites my ant. Only a couple get on them. I had so many bites on my foot, and every single one of them swelled up and had liquid inside of them. And it was the most painful bug bite I've ever had. And I've had over 15 of them, and then I had to march for hours on end on a competition the very next day. It was horrible. Like our
God.
ants are brutal. It's crazy.
That's the thing. That's the thing too. They're not very big ants, are they?
No, they're not big at all. They're tiny buggers.
No, they're really. There's. I've seen the Texas ants. I don't know if they're actually fire ants because apparently those are like. I don't know.
I mean,
I
we
don't know.
have plenty of fire ants. Don't get me wrong.
I your ants because I've seen them. I've been bit by them. They're nasty. I hate them. They are smaller than our ants. Not everything's bigger in Texas, guys. Their ants are small but deadly killers. That sucks. Your guys' wasp are terrible. I've seen your guys' wasp. They're like brown. They're like a jet brown color, and they fly and they like make like a. They make like a their wings smack together, so it makes like this really nasty like bug sound.
Toxic, yeah.
No, they're nasty. They fly at you just to fly at you in your face, and then you gotta back up. And if you don't back up fast enough, they look like they're about to sting. I didn't go outside when I went to Austin, Texas after my first day there. I stayed inside.
Have bad wasps, but our bees are very chill. Like I've had many bees land on me, and they're just like, "Yo, what's up?"
I think that's just bees in general, man.
Speaking of
bees
Texas,
in Cali are nice.
right. Speaking of Texas, I just came back from a band trip. Since we're talking about band in Texas, I went to Galveston, Texas. So I was, to put that in perspective, I was in the Gulf of Mexico. And it's nice, but my God, dude, first of all, unpopular opinion, I hate the beach. I don't like being outside. And I mean, I don't blame myself.
What?
Texas is horrible.
You don't like? I'm sorry. I was eating food. I was eating my pork chop, and I didn't want to interrupt. You don't like the beach?
Maybe it's Galveston. It's not a bad beach, but I mean, I hate the summer. I don't like getting sunburned. I always get sunburned. I don't hate the beach, but I'd rather swim in a pool. That's my controversial take.
I think Texas summers are ass. I live in Cali. California summers are amazing here. I love California summer.
Our summers, we always reach minimum 100 degrees every single day, and then combine that with marching band.
Yeah, no, Cali, we get like 113 and shit in the afternoon in like a summer.
No, we're just 100 the whole day, and then we drop down at night when that's it. But I went to this trip. So I got to see a bunch of like stuff and I guess hang out. I've been to Galveston before, but I mean I'll be honest with you, I hate going outside, so I didn't do much, but I got to explore Galveston more, and this trip was just it was weird. I mean, obviously with the band people, so it wasn't horrible, but like okay, second time ever going to the beach. I don't hate the beach. I was just being a little bit dramatic, but like I'm not particularly the biggest fan. I don't like how the salt tastes. Like it's nasty.
You're not supposed to drink the salt water.
Like,
There's we have like hundreds of years of records about don't drink the salt water. It doesn't taste.
It gets in your mouth. Like, we were swimming.
It gets in your eyes. It'll definitely get in your eyes. I don't think I've ever willingly let salt water. I obviously shouldn't willingly let salt water in your mouth.
Well, here's the thing. I like going deep because I'm a very confident swimmer. So me and my friends, we go deep, and also keep in mind we're in high tide and there's a red flag, and what the red flag means is that very high, intense waves, but still safe to swim in. Because if there's two red flags, then you're not allowed to swim deep. But if there's one, that just means be careful of the stuff, and if it gets worse, we'll put in a warning for riptides. So I'm swimming in high tides. During high, we came at low tide, and it became high tide, and then the waves are just huge. So I had to have salt water get in my mouth, as much as I hate to avoid it. But that's because I like to go real deep. Because I actually like swimming. Maybe it's just because I'm used to being in a pool. But I love swimming. I think swimming is like really fun. Like get me in a pool and I will literally stay there for the whole day.
I love swimming. I'm always hesitant to get into the water. That's the biggest thing with me because I don't like the feeling of initially getting wet. But as soon as I'm in, and I kind of want to stay there, and you have to force me out.
Me, I just say I kind of made this deal. I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was a burp or a cough, but that was a weird sound. But I jump in a pool every single time, no hesitation, just to get it over with. So I mean, I used to have the same thing where I didn't want to get in because I'm like, ooh, I hate the shock. But nowadays, every single time I go in a pool, I just straight up just jump in, get submerged, and then like it comes in and then it disappears really fast. So
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to approach it. I guess.
I like swimming, but yeah, I've been traveling recently, which is why everything was a little bit delayed. Besides the past episode of Real Talk, that was the first thing I can get out. But I came back like yesterday, and I grinded a whole hallway video. Never thought I'd do that.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the announcement on the Discord. Hey, by the way, with listeners, if you haven't checked the link in the description below for the Hallway Discord server, you should check that out now.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Even though we're not, we're no longer on the Hallway YouTube channel. We're on the Real Talk channel now. But
we share the same Discord.
True. We always plug this. Real Talk came from Hallway, and the podcast originally was a Hallway project, but now it's me thing. So yeah, and I'll definitely get more Hallway members. I think Rocco. I can say his name. He doesn't care. But Jimmy.
No.
I mean, I don't usually say his name. I just said it naturally. But Jimmy. I think he wants to take it serious this time, so that's gonna be cool. But yeah,
nice.
I know I've been traveling a lot. I got to see a lot of. Okay, so there was this thing in Galveston called Moody Gardens, and it's like 3 pyramids full of like stuff. One of them sucks, so I'm not gonna talk about it. But one of them's like a rainforest theme, where it's literally just a jungle inside of there. Tons of birds. I saw bats. I saw a monkey, a really old monkey.
Whoa.
But I got to see a lot of animals that I've just never seen in person. Because, like, yeah, I've been to a zoo, but, like, at a zoo, you see a lion. I've never seen a lion. I went to a zoo a long time ago. If I've ever seen a lion, I don't remember seeing a lion. The only animal I remember actually seeing at a zoo was, like, a monkey with, like, the red ass. Like, the one from the movies.
The baboon?
Yeah, I saw a baboon, and they tried to fuck, and my mom was like, cover your eyes. But other than that, I've never really seen like real like cool animals before. Yeah. But I got a lot of birds.
For me, it's hard to go to zoos.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go to zoos feeling good because it's like I don't know. I know that I don't know how zoos take care of their animals. I hope that if I go to best case scenario, I go to a zoo that takes great care of its animals. It's not a normal animal. It's not.
Yeah.
The kind of animal that you're gonna see in the wild. It's not its true behavior. It's domestic. It's captivity. It's.
I think.
Yeah.
For this place, like they don't. Well, it's not a zoo, so they have animals, but the staff, like I was looking at the staff, and they're just like feeding the animals, like taking care of them. I think a lot of them they just have just to recover, because these are like pretty like. I'm not sure if they're exotic, but they're like definitely like they're not common because every single animal I saw I've never seen, like just before or even heard of. But they're not like exotic either. They're probably just like they probably need to be like they're probably just like animals need to be recovered. Because there's bats too, and there were some exotic animals, but there's only like I only saw one parrot, and that was it. But he looked really old, so I don't even think he could survive in the wild. And I think a lot of the animals they had there, one, I think it's a non-profit, so yeah.
Oh.
But I think a lot of the animals there are just there for either recovery or just as permanent residents because they can't live in the wild anymore. There's also a lot of fish, but I did go to the aquarium, and the aquarium.
I love aquariums.
Oh, wait.
God.
This is the
I'm sorry,
first. Sorry, no, you're fine. But this is the first time I've ever been to a real aquarium before.
Yeah.
And dude, they're so cool.
I know. God.
Yeah.
You get to see like octopuses be octopuses. That's the thing. The difference between a zoo and an aquarium is the aquariums just inherently or I don't know. I don't know how to put it into words. It feels like the animals in the aquarium are happier than the animals in the zoo.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because, I don't know. They just swim, right? They just swim normally.
Yeah.
So they're doing it there now.
They're
having a great time.
I saw penguins for the first time.
Dude.
And I was like, oh, they're so cute. And I'm like, oh, but why are they in the zoo? So that was a little bit suspicious.
Right.
But at the end of the zoo, there was this room of other penguins, but They weren't that many. The room was kind of small, but I think there was. But here's the thing. I think there was a lab behind it, because the penguins kind of looked a little rough, but I think it was like a recovery lab. Because I never mentioned this, but like throughout the place, because you can see the buildings, there's just like labs, like recovery labs. Like they had a coral recovery lab, specifically a room dedicated to like recovering and nurturing coral. And then they had stuff for insects.
That's super cool.
And then they had like I think a bird lab, and like I think there's like the penguin I saw. I think because it like the penguin enclosure itself was pretty small, but the room, like you couldn't see all of it because it was all artificial. But like the penguins were like hiding. But I think there was like a lab behind it because it was like near the end, and I'm like, there's clearly enough space, and there's like a lot of employee doors around there. So I think they're like that's like a penguin recovery area. And
this zoo's so rich. Each animal got its own Poke Center.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, yeah, the fucking merchandise is like $30 a plush, so I don't blame them.
Oof.
But it was so I never thought I would ever see a jellyfish in my life. But I saw a jellyfish. I think that was the coolest part, was me seeing a jellyfish. That was fire. Like it was so gas. I loved the aquarium, and then I saw a bunch of fish. I touched a stingray. That was cool.
Dude, you gotta touch a stingray. Were they debarbed, or do they still have their tails? Because some aquariums will remove the stingray.
No, yeah, they still have their tails. It was very slimy.
That's so cool. Stingray venom is incredibly toxic. If you're allowed to pet stingrays, they have like vials of anti-venom right there in the cooler in case you get stung, because you will die if you don't treat that immediately.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a lot of fish, but like kind of weird fish. So I do think it is a bit of a recovery thing as well, because I do notice like there's a lot of labs, and like they just straight up show it like you can go in like a dark cave exhibit, and then the next room just has like a door full of a lab. You can see like a person working in there, and I'm like, huh. Like I know the bug exhibit, there was a lab dedicated to nurturing food bugs for the other bugs to eat. And I'm like, damn, bro, these people really they've really grown these bugs just to kill them, feed them to other bugs.
Starship Troopers, man. Troopers.
They had an axolotl. It was black and it was really cool.
Yo!
Or axolotl.
Oh, Jimmy Rocco, he doesn't care what we call him.
Really?
Rocco loves axolotls. That's
cute.
like one of his favorite animals. They're super cool. Aquatic animals just in general are badass. All animals are cool. They're amazing creatures, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't prefer the aquatic. Here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What would you rank from best to worst? Land, terrestrial animals, avian animals, so flying creatures that can fly, and then aquatic animals. Which, from best to worst, which ones do you overall prefer?
What's terrestrial? So we have aquatic, land, flying, and what's terrestrial?
So the aquatic are like fish and things that primarily live in the water or have highly aquatic like lifestyles. Terrestrial are things that like megafauna, like deer, moose, like you know, like rabbits and stuff, animals that predominantly like live on the plains or on like earth, on land. And then avian animals that primarily do flying and stuff like that. So creatures capable of flight.
So I would say in order, I think avian would go first, and the only reason why is because my first ever pets, besides the fishes, obviously, as a kid, I had a parakeet as a pet.
Yo.
And I do love birds. I love me some birds. I think birds are cute. That's why I enjoyed the jungle exhibit. I didn't care about anything but the birds. I was just looking at the birds fly around. And then okay. Maybe I'll be more. I think I'm more interested in aquatic, and then I'll put birds, and then the rest of the flying stuff. But I do love me the. I do. I'm backpedaling. I hate swimming in the ocean sometimes, but I think it is because of the beach. But maybe I just need the proper setup. That's probably it. But I really, really do like underwater stuff. Like I've always liked the ocean. I've always liked like underwater
deep ocean
animals
and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
deep oceans.
I mean, I think fishing's funny. I've never done it before, but I'd love to. I mean, real talk.
Real talk, baby. Real talk. It's funny. you don't have too much fishing experience. I have a little bit. I do fly fishing, which is top water fishing primarily. But that's a different topic for a different day. I have always, ever since I can remember as a little kid, have loved the ocean. Like,
Yes.
some of my first movies that I've watched were just dealt with ocean. Like Finding Nemo, I watched a crap ton of Finding Nemo as a kid, and Finding Nemo is a beautiful movie. Like, just overall, it's a classic, right? It's a classic Disney Pixar film.
It's a
but
classic.
Beautiful movie. It is a certified classic. But that was always super cool watching that. And I had a book as a kid. I think it was just simply called Sea Serpents, or the Book of Sea Serpents. It had beautiful art that looked like very mythological-esque, or like the designs of each of the sea serpents looked like kind of like similar to those monsters that you'd find on those like old globes of like, you know, like it shows the seas and there's like sea serpents like poking out of the water with like nostrils, like breathing out steam and stuff. It had designs very similar to that. But it was a whole book filled with them, and it talked about different like sea serpents and like creatures or cryptids that were aquatic, and talked about them in detail, where they were first discovered, who discovered them, like the records for about how big and how long they're supposed to be. Super cool book. I would read that all the time. There's an amazing art piece in that book that talks about the Kraken, and it just shows this like little dismal ship on top of this murky, brackish, like green blue water. And deep below in the shadow, you see like the faint light from above peering down, going through the water, dissipating, and then reflecting off of this giant octopus. Such a cool book. And I grew up watching that, just looking at those pictures for hours. The deep ocean is so badass. Monsters and fish and shit. All of the cooler ones are in the water.
Fish and chips, yeah.
Me and my friends, I don't know if you watched Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Oh, I did not watch the new movie. I didn't think it was going to be good. I wasn't a fan of the first one that much. I thought it was a fine movie.
Fair enough.
And apparently it was mid, and it's just to jerk off the actor who died, which, I mean, I'm not trying to shame the actor. It's sad that he died, but I'm like, I don't want to watch a movie that's just a trivia.
It's definitely not the strongest part of the film. They kind of just ham him in.
I just don't like Marvel. I don't like superheroes either. I've never liked superheroes.
I like superheroes, but I completely understand the sentiment of like just being done with Marvel films and stuff in general. I'm tired of that shit. It took so much convincing for me to even be willing to go and watch Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And the reason I even bring it up is because the scene where they go down to Atlantis or Talocan, because the Atlanteans are Mayan in the film. They made the Atlanteans Mayans, which I thought was badass. I was just happy to see an iteration of Mayans or an iteration of Atlanteans that weren't Greek, because I'm tired of that archetype. And it was super cool. It was just I don't know. It was a well done waterscape. I think it made the movie for me. I'm not gonna lie. I think it made the movie, because ever after that I was like, you know what? This film isn't as bad, but I think it's just because that one scene and paired with that one song.
Oh, hell no. His ass is an Avatar fan.
No. I didn't. I liked the Avatar enough, but there wasn't big enough scary sea monsters. Like, I know there's that giant whale creature in Avatar Way of Water. It's cool. I liked it. Overall, I don't know. I feel like I've seen the story of Way of Water before. I think that's the only issue with me.
I'm a hater.
Yeah. You're a hater?
Yeah. So whenever I first started working at the theater, I had a coworker. He fucking hates Avatar. So, and then he tells me that he's like, "Oh, I hated the first movie." He says, "But I'm gonna hate watch the next one." I'm like, "Okay." And he says, "Dude, this movie is worse than the first one." I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "No, it's like I had pretty low expectations, but fuck." And I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'm not wasting my time." It's like, also, I hate movies in general.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna spend 3 hours watching a movie. Go fuck yourself. So, I'm just a hater. Also, it's super popular, and I think I noticed that Avatar fans get really mad on Twitter. So that also makes me hate the movie, because I think it's funny to hate it, because it pisses off Avatar fans a lot.
Right.
So yeah,
it's just so hard, because whenever someone talks about Avatar, I immediately default to thinking about them talking about the Nickelodeon TV show, which was also a very big part of my childhood. That it's a great TV show. I love that. but I'll start talking about Aang, and then they'll look at me with this little face like, no, we're talking about the real Avatar. And it's like, what the fuck? What?
Get real. I've never heard of Avatar until recently, actually.
Avatar: The Last Airbender?
No, not that. I'm Avatar, like the real one.
What the fuck? No.
No, but I've never heard of that until like before Way of it was before Way. It was whenever Way of Water got I think like announced, because I remember watching a Jax film video and he made a reference to weird movie with blue people, and I'm like, is this like Avatar: Last Airbender, but like real? And then my friend and then my coworker was like, no, it's worse because the actual Avatar show is fire, and I'm like, oh,
right,
because I thought
the show is fire.
I thought it was a spin-off of like the Avatar, like they pulled a Disney and they made like a live action. That's what I thought it was.
Right. Nah,
and apparently it's
Avatar,
really old too.
I think the first Avatar is it's not 2008. When did the first Avatar?
I think it's like 2012.
Just
it's like pretty old. Like
it's a couple years old. 2009.
Wow, I wasn't that old back then.
Yeah, the first Avatar was 2009, and I mean, I remember watching the first Avatar, and I'm a kid, so I watched a lot of like CGI movies before then. So I mean, as a kid, I thought the movie was cool. I mean, I think I hear, I don't know how prevalent of a criticism this is. I heard, I didn't rewatch the first Avatar before watching Way of Water, but I heard that the animation between the two movies is not that different. It's still good animation, but they didn't really do too much to go beyond what the animation was beforehand, because they already nailed it, I guess, with the first one.
I don't have high expectation for. Sorry about that. I don't have a high expectation for Avatar because they are shot Avatar 2, 3, 4, and I think 5 at the same time.
They did?
Yeah.
This is like a well-known fact?
Yeah, it's a well-known fact that Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5 were made at the exact same time. And they're going to wrap production pretty soon. Like, the next one is coming out in 2024. So next year, we're going to have Avatar 3. They were all made around the same time, so not much is going to be innovated on. So
why did they wait so long to release the sequel?
Probably because it took a long time to make it, but they're starting to finish 2, which means that they're going to finish 3, and then they're going to finish 4 and 5 because they literally made it around the same time. Or at the same time, actually.
Right. So wait, they filmed all five movies at the same time, or the 2 through 5 they filmed at the same time?
They didn't film 1, but they filmed like 2 through whatever. They filmed
2 through 5 at the okay.
I think there's up to 5. I don't know if it's 4 or 5, or I don't think there's 6, but yeah, they filmed like 3 movies at the same time.
That's wild.
And that's why Avatar 3 is coming out next year, because I mean, yeah. So I don't know how they're going to make sequels to movies that weren't even done, so they're probably not going to be any good, but I don't think Avatar was ever supposed to be good. The only reason why Avatar is the highest grossing movie of all time is because of China.
Really? I thought it was just based off of like the crazy CGI graphics for the time.
Well, that too, but also they're pretty sure they re-released it in China and it popped off. That's what I heard, though. I could be wrong, but a lot of people told me that it's made so much money, particularly because of the Chinese audience, which makes perfect sense, because if you want to make bank on a movie, getting it to China is what you should do. That's what the Fast and Furious people did. And those movies are poo-poo stinky garbage, but I love them. But yeah.
I haven't seen a single one. I know they made that... it was a while ago. When did the World of Warcraft movie? I remember the World of Warcraft movie released in America. It was shit. It was ass. Mm-hmm. But it was the highest grossing film in Chinese history. Mm-hmm. And it made bank because it was released in China.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of news press on it talking about like the validity of releasing films in Chinese theaters and stuff. I don't know. There's a weird. I can't comment on I can't comment on that stuff because I don't know about it.
Because, well, I mean, you have the Great Firewall, and so they're not allowed access to a lot of things. I mean, they have to use like WeChat for a lot of things. First of all, but their internet's very restricted, and if you don't know anything about using VPNs and don't mind doing illegal activities, as in using a VPN, then if you're an average Joe, then you're gonna have a lot of restrictions on your web activities and just media in general. So you have to kind of like stay careful with how you're doing movies and stuff. But that also means that they don't have that many cool movies that are weird. So a lot of their movies are made in-house, but they don't have a lot of weird movies, which means that if an American makes a movie, censors it, and changes it to Chinese standards, it's going to be the cool new hip movie for them because it's, weird green people or cool muscular men flying around in cars shooting each other, which I don't know if you're allowed to show that, but cool people in cars. So it's like it's gonna blow up in China because it's something different. Because I don't think they have that much different stuff because of their limitations that they have to have. I mean, you've heard.
I know they have. I know there's strict censorship laws regarding like homoerotic relationships and stuff. Like homoerotic is in reference to like porn and stuff. No, like homosexual relationships and stuff. I mean, homosexual and homoerotic. Like none of that flies in Chinese Chinese media. And I think blood too, like excessive blood and gore.
And no blood and gore, and you can't show dead bodies, like even in video games. Like by the way, these laws are for all media. You can't show death, blood in video games. And this is a really good segue. People are surprised about Plants vs. Zombies' future. Like, oh, the third game is gonna suck ass. They stopped making games after the second game, and then they made Neighborville. How is EA making money from this series? And it's because of China. PvZ is huge in China. Like, people don't realize this, but like the China has like we have PvZ 1, PvZ 2, PvZ 3 on release, and it's still in beta. So we have Garden Warfare 2, and then we have PvZ Heroes, which is a mobile spin-off. And that's only 5 games after all these years, only 5 games. China has like 20 games. Like, they get exclusive games. Some of them flash games, but like PvZ makes bank in China because it's different, and EA and PopCap targeted the Chinese audience. And by the way, the Chinese PvZ games are so cool and so weird, but like a lot of like American stuff that you're like, why is this like, how is this alive, or how did it make so much money? It's because of China. Like most
they're innovating towards the Chinese audience, but they're not doing it anywhere else because anywhere else would be a waste of money and effort because there's just not a consumer base for it.
Yeah, like Plants vs. Zombies and in EA's eyes, like I don't know if you grew up playing that game, but I fucking love PvZ.
I grew up playing the first Plants vs. Zombies. I haven't played any of them beyond that. The first Plants vs. Zombies was awesome. I mean, the night stages with the mushrooms, and then at the very end where you have to like fight at the roof, but like there's the roof edge, so you have to use the corn catapults and stuff. That was super cool.
That's cool.
I like that.
But so essentially, the series is pretty much dead here. But China has like you think no one plays PvZ 2, but I'm gonna be real with you. PvZ 2 is amazing and it's fire, and people need to give it a shot. I know it has really bad microtransactions when it comes to using certain plants, but you don't need those plants at all. And they brought in this level up system that I hate, but I think it came from the Chinese version actually. But I mean, I played PvZ. I played every single PvZ game besides Garden Warfare 1 and Neighborville. And I played Garden Warfare 2 like when it came out recently, so I didn't like play it when it was popular, but I'm a huge PvZ fan. Like, I love that game series, but like it's pretty much dead. But like for China, it's like they had PvZ 1, then they had the Great Wall edition, then they had like a couple more editions of the first game, and then they made PvZ 2 for China. My personal favorite Chinese version is PvZ All Stars. I think that game is sick as hell, and it's just they have like so many weird like Plants vs. Zombies games, and it's just like that's how they're making their bread. But that's also why. But
most of these are not available to the American audience.
Oh no, and also a lot of the games shut down. But they've had a lot of games in like their whole run of the series. So like, well, we get nothing. China's like swimming in PvZ, and I'm like, oh, huh? But like that goes back to everything where like a lot of like the stuff in China, like If it's not working in America, bring it to China. And if it is working in America, bring it to China because you make even more money. That's why Avatar is the highest grossing movie of all time because of China. Yeah, and that's why Fast and Furious gets so much money. Yeah,
it's smart. I feel like because at a certain point though, if your film like or some project like deals with something that like the censorship laws have to like isn't allowed there, like how common is it for some to swallow their pride? And I'm maybe that's a bit rude or a bit
no, it's very common. Like
really,
like PopCap, I don't think they swallowed their pride per se. Well, I mean, they clearly did. They fucking suck now. But they didn't
I would say that I want to preface with the Chinese audience should be able to enjoy any game that we enjoy.
For sure.
It's nothing like that. It's just more of the fact like that. I feel like because of their censorship laws, which are blatantly against things such as like, you know, homosexual relationships, transgenderism, and stuff like that. Like
murder,
just basic things that like we're
violence, cartoon, like all the good shit. You know?
It's like things that are like it's okay to be these things, but the Chinese government doesn't allow that because of censorship laws. Like. And if your product or your material or media talks about or frequently mentions those things, like I feel like there's a part of me that would feel like, man, I wouldn't feel comfortable like just cutting that out because it's.
Oh, but a lot when it comes to money, people don't care. I think I remember hearing a case about I think Disney released a Star Wars movie in China, and it has a scene. I think it's two girls or two guys kissing. And they just cut it out. I don't know if it's Disney or maybe it's Fast and Furious. It's a movie. I don't care about movies. Who fucking
right?
But like, they did that, and then they made bank off China. But like, they just removed that one thing, and like, it's pretty common. Like, Steam has its own Chinese version. There's a Steam China version, and then
I remember that.
Roblox has its own Great Wall Edition, like PVZ or Steam. There's a Chinese version of Steam. There's a Chinese version of TikTok. Actual TikTok is banned in China, and they use their own version. But like real TikTok is for everyone else, while TikTok goes by a different name in China. I don't know what it's called, but it's their own version because they have to restrict stuff. And also they want that sweet data collection from other countries, so it's always a good idea to make a separate version specifically for data collection. But like,
I don't use TikTok. I don't use TikTok.
I don't use TikTok either, and it's because of the security issues. Keep in mind that originally I was going to be a cybersec major, so I very much care about technology, and I very much care about online security. And that I don't want to do it professionally, but it's still very much technology is still very much a thing I'm passionate and curious about, so I always like to stay secure online to a certain extent, because at some point I will care a little bit more about convenience than I do cybersecurity. Like professional hackers will tell you never set your thing to auto reconnect on Wi-Fi, and to that I say suck my dick. Right. Because that's too convenient for me not to use. And then like, always use VPNs, and I'm like, I'll use VPNs when I feel like it's appropriate. I'm not gonna always run a VPN.
I don't have a VPN. I don't have money for that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, there's like, I'm not trying to shit on the Chinese government. Please don't go after me. You can everyone has their opinion. I don't want this to become a political podcast. So
absolutely not.
Whatever your opinions on China, it's your opinion on China. I just find it fascinating. And I also think another thing, I think the Chinese language is funny, and I think it's cool. I like how Mandarin sounds.
Yeah, well, because there's Mandarin and there's Cantonese.
I think Cantonese also sounds cool.
Both of them, it's super interesting. Or it's just interesting. Like the two different dialects of Chinese Mandarin.
I've always been interested in like Asian culture, but like
is Cantonese a form of Mandarin actually, or is it its own language?
It's its own language, but it's because it's a dialect of. So I guess my history on China is not good, and my language knowledge is not super good, but I do believe that Cantonese is a dialect from Mandarin, and Mandarin is I think it translates to like common people language or whatever, but it's the common language in China, because there's no such thing as Chinese. There's different languages and different dialects, but the dialects can be so different that you can understand Cantonese but not Mandarin, and vice versa. Kind of like Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off here. I just found this on Tandem. Mandarin versus Cantonese. Pronunciation: Mandarin and Cantonese are not mutually intelligible, meaning someone who only speaks Mandarin will not be able to understand Cantonese,
Yeah.
and vice versa. So if you only speak Cantonese, you won't be able to understand like Mandarin.
Yeah.
I guess they're not dialects at all. They're actually different languages.
Well, they started off as Well, I think people consider them dialects, but like they're pretty much different languages.
They probably had a common ancestor at one point, and then they split off.
Yeah, it's like Spanish, where you got Spanish, you got and then you got like Latin, and then like a bunch of other stuff where like
you have Latin. Latin in that split off because of the Roman influence.
Mm-hmm.
You had Roman influence in Spanish, French, and Italian.
French,
and a little bit of
French, Italian. Like
Portuguese and
if you speak Spanish, you won't understand Italian. Obviously, it's kind of like that.
There'll be maybe some words that you can
Mm-hmm.
maybe vaguely get, but that's only if you have a solid knowledge of the Latin language.
It's kind of
and
like
even then, not so much.
It's like how if you speak English, you won't understand Dutch or German, even though their histories with the Germanic languages that's their origin.
There might be a couple words that you pick up on that you'll through like some tough context clues you might be able to know, but other than that, not.
I think languages are fucking sick, and
languages are badass.
I think I don't know Spanish. I do want to learn, but I think right now I really want to learn Japanese. Because not because I'm a weeb and I want to watch anime and fucking without stuff. Like it's not because that's not the only reason. One, I want to visit Japan. I think it's a cool country, but mainly because I watch a lot of media and listen to a lot of media that's in Japanese. So actually being able to understand it would be really cool. So it's not that I just watch anime, but I also play a lot of like weird weeb games, and I also listen to a lot of music, and I also listen to a lot of art. Like I listen to a lot of EDM, and all the EDM artists I listen to are from Japan. Like they're based off of Japan. And a lot of games I play are Japan. I fucking love rhythm games, and all of those are machines imported straight from Japan. So that's I like Japan a lot, but I'm not just like a Japan like weeaboo. Like no, in fact I'm not really that huge on anime, to be honest with you. I'm more into the other stuff. I'm a weeb who isn't too into anime, but into the other stuff for sure. But I really like the music scene especially. But I don't know. I think Asian stuff is cool. Even not just Japan. Like I don't know much about Korea, but I have a Korean friend, and he tells me, he's like, we've had conversations, kind of shitting on Japan because every single Asian person hates each other. That's just a well-known fact. Kind of like how every Spanish speaking country also hates each other, but also doesn't.
There's like a friend. I think there's like a rivalry. I think there's an undertoned rivalry between it because me and my friend,
call back to the first episode.
Call back to the first episode in which we cut. We in the last episode that got cut because of OBS, we did talk about how like there's this silly rivalry between like Hispanic subculture groups. So for those of you that don't know, I'm third generation Peruvian American.
And I am not. I think fourth, fifth gen Mexican American. So I am. Family comes from Mexico, but I was born in America, specifically in Texas. So it's a little bit weird. I'm not first gen.
Born in the USA, baby.
I was born in the USA.
Same with me. But like me and my friend, my good friend who's Hispanic, his family comes from El Salvador. Me and him were talking about this, and me and him always have these stupid little pointless spats about who's more Hispanic out of the other. Or just dumb stuff like that.
I know every culture has it, because I know for a fact a lot of Asian people do that too. Like they beef a lot. I only know this because a lot of like I guess specifically my school I go to, there's a lot of races over there. Just there's a lot of diversity over there. So I
thought you said there's a lot of racism over there.
Not racism. Races. There's a lot of diversity.
Races.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
But like for me, my best friend, he's Puerto Rican and I'm Mexican, and I always make sure that he knows he's Puerto Rican because I'm like, we always make fun of each other. Like I always tell him that Puerto Ricans aren't real. Mexicans the only Hispanic race like ever, because whenever people talk about Hispanic people, they only think of Mexicans, and then he's just like, "Shut up, you insert funny slurs here," and I'm always just like, "Shut up, you're literally just homegrown American Mexicans."
Well,
even though they got taken over, but we don't have to talk about the history there. But yeah, but I like researching. I had a whole arc researching about China. I had a whole arc researching. I want to learn more about Korea. I think it's interesting because this initially sparked my interest in Japan, because I was like, why does everything I consume come from Japan? Like Nintendo is from Japan, Pokemon's from Japan. I'm curious about this, and now even to this day, a lot of the media I consume is from Japan. But now I'm like, my phone is made in Korea. Samsung's a Korean brand. A lot of the technology I use comes from Korea or
Honda.
Yeah, just like a lot of stuff I use is like origins from Korea, especially like Samsung. Yeah. Like I love Samsung, even though they're a conglomerate, probably bad corporation. I like their products a lot. But it's like now I'm curious. I'm like, my favorite gacha game. Usually when people play gacha games, they come straight from Japan or China. But
isn't Sony also Korean?
No, Sony's Japanese.
Oh, Sony Japanese. Yeah. Okay, my bad.
But my favorite gacha game ever, Blue Archive, is Korean. So the gacha game on my phone that I put approximately, gonna check this real quick to get this exactly correct, 128 hours and 27 minutes of total game time since I've started playing comes from Korea. So I'm like, Korea is pretty interesting now, because I'm like, it seems a lot of media that I'm consuming now also comes from Korea. So now I want to do a little bit more research on Korea.
Are you familiar with Webtoons?
I do, but I don't dabble in Webtoons.
I used to. I haven't done it in a long while. I got into Webtoons, and I didn't read too many Webtoons from actual Korean authors, not because I avoided it, just because the Webtoons that appealed to me were from non-creator. I think this is gonna sound ignorant. Shen, Owl Comics. I don't know if he's Korean.
No.
I don't think he's ever done a race reveal. Not like it really matters. I like his comics anyways. They're cute. But there is one on Webtoon called Helper, which is it's this webcomic all about this leader of a bike gang that gets ran over by a truck and dies, and he goes to hell. And the whole comic is it switches between his biker gang and them mourning his death and trying to figure out the new leader, and then it switches to the biker gang guy in hell trying to collect 99 tickets, because when you go to hell you start off with a wristband with one ticket, and it's said that you can get back, you can either reincarnate or go to heaven if you collect 99 tickets from the other residents of hell. Mm-hmm. And so collecting tickets make you stronger. It's a super cool world. I really liked Helper. They had the first season. They had the first, because they don't do like chapters, or they do seasons, I think. Like every like arc is like a season. They had so I've read the entirety of the first season because it was completely like drawn and like translated to English for this first season, and I really liked it. It was a really badass comic. Rocco likes it too. You could talk about him about it. He'll use about it for hours. Me and him will. But the second season was being translated in Korean. It was completely drawn. I think it was halfway finished or something, drawn in Korean, written in Korean, but wasn't translated. And the author did something to get himself canceled for a very valid reason. It was like for blatant sexism or like misogyny in his comic, which wasn't cool. He apologized for it, and he might have taken steps to try to alleviate it. But from my understanding, I think Helper has stopped being produced. And it's tricky to recommend this project now, knowing that I'd like to try to separate the art from the artist.
It's like me like trying to recommend, like not recommend, but me listening to like Kanye. Like I think I have a lot of I don't listen to him all the time, but there's like a few songs that I really like from him that I will always jam out to. But I'm like, ooh, he also had that mental breakdown where he fucking said "Hell Hitler" and stuff. So I'm like,
yeah, he really did fall off the deep end. I think it's. Yeah. I don't know what to comment on it. I'm fine with talking about. I think it's fine to talk about it, but I feel like if whenever I talk about it, I have to, if I'm gonna recommend it to someone, I have to let them know about that.
Yeah.
I have to let them know, like, hey, the author did this, and they're probably never going to finish the project.
Mhm.
If you don't want to read or learn about that or support it, completely understandable. I get it.
Or
But
pirate it
yeah.
if you don't feel comfortable but still want to consume it. I think that's valid.
True. I can't comment on that. But the reason why I even brought up Helper in the first place is because before that weird misogyny sexism thing got introduced into comics that he started introducing, the second season wasn't in English, so I wanted to learn Hangul, Korean. I wanted to learn how to read Hangul, the Korean alphabet, and wanted to learn Korean so I could keep up with the current webtoon comics because I liked
Ah.
Helper that much. And so I spent a summer learning Hangul. I completely lost it because I didn't practice it or use it at all, just like Spanish after I graduated from high school. Because if you don't use it, you definitely lose it.
Oh yeah.
But I have like I still have notes of the Korean alphabet and stuff around my room. It's super fun to draw. I don't even know how I got on this topic about Helper.
Yeah, that's cool.
Point
No,
is,
yeah.
but point is, I understand like your interest in the consumption of Korean media because Koreans got some cool stuff to it.
They really
yeah.
do, and because what most people what they think about Korea, they're like, K-pop, bleh, bleh. And to my response is so true. I think K-pop is cringe, not because it's bad, but because I just don't like pop.
I just don't follow it. I like music, but I'm more of like an alt rock or like heavy metal kind of guy. I have a vast music taste, but I just usually don't listen to pop either.
My taste is pretty vast too. I just don't like pop, and K-pop reminds me of the pop I don't like, so I don't really listen to it. Except Light It Up, like Dynamite. Fucking Dynamite by BTS is such a fire song. But other than that, I don't keep up with it. I've mentioned this many times, but the only thing I have that's related to K-pop is that I have a photo card and a little photo from one of their concerts of Jungkook, because I told my sister that I thought he is cool because he's the only one I know, and I think it was funny that I know him and not everyone else, so she gave me a photo card of him. And right now I have a little standee of one of their concerts. I only have it because I thought it was funny. I think it's funny, and I did it as a joke. And I don't know anything about K-pop, but technically I could watch one of their concerts because my sister is really into K-pop, and she bought a DVD of one of their concerts. So if I ever wanted to give it a try, that would be something interesting. I mean, I did watch anime girls.
They really
dance
perform
before.
though, because it's not just them singing. There's like a dance number and shit
Yeah.
to it. I haven't watched any Korean. Don't they
I'm-
do like magic tricks and shit on it too?
I
Like
wouldn't know.
they go all out.
I want to research more about it because I think it's interesting,
yeah.
but I also don't really like idol culture. I kind of explained that in the last episode about my opinion on idol culture.
Yeah.
I have consumed it before. I watched the Hololive Festival thing with the VTuber idol concert. And they're doing another one, and I'm kind of sad that I can't afford it because I'm kind of curious how they're going to do it this year. But besides that,
Do you, not kind of rail things back a little bit. I've been doing kind of while we've been talking, just kind of some slight research. Bring it back to the beginning of this episode. Speaking of idol culture, I've been reading these reviews for the Big Time Rush app.
oh my
Do you
god,
want to do you want to listen in on some of these reviews? Because this is idol culture. I don't know if there's anything other than idol culture here.
Here, let me wrap up my tangent real quick about Korea.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
I guess I'm mainly interested in it, especially because Blue Archive is such a fucking, in my opinion, phenomenal game that I fucking love to death. I think the music and story is great, but also a lot of the artwork is based off of Seoul. So I think one day I maybe try to dig deeper more to Korean culture, because I maybe might want to visit there one day. And also one of my favorite YouTubers visited Korea, and I saw his video on it, and I thought the city looked fucking cool. And one of my favorite mobile games ever is based off Korea and has a lot of stuff inspired by Korea. So I'm like, oh, this is fucking sick. I want to look more into it. But that's kind of also how I got into Japanese culture, was finding stuff and getting interested in it. But now that we're going to talk about idol culture, let's fucking do the Big Time Rush. Almost said BTS.
BTR actually.
BTR, actually.
Yeah. So Big Time Rush. I'm gonna read this first one. This is these are the reviews for the Big Time Rush app, which is essentially their own social media service. Which apparently, you'll learn about this in a minute. This first one is by Addy Boob, and this was in 11/29/2022. I am the biggest Big Time Rush fan on earth, and this kind of upset me. ... So as I said, I am the #1 Big Time Rush fan on the planet. I was kind of upset when I discovered that you have to pay for it. I got myself all hyped up, and then that happened. I'm sure Big Time Rush needs the money, so I don't really mind. I hope that the developers take this review. Overall, I am sure this app is fantastic, and I can't wait to save up my money to get it. 5 stars.
Oh my god.
So it's 5 stars because she is certain that when she gets the money to use it, that'll be great.
Oh.
This next one is from Kayla, kiss emoji, heart eye emoji, 10/05/2022. Great so far, but could be a bit better, heart emoji. It's nice to get updates and even exclusive content from the guys. I miss them a lot from seeing them on their past tour a couple times. Big Time Rush, I think the last time they went on a tour was like 2021, so a whole year went by, and then before that, just nothing, radio silence. However, it would be great to be able to seeing them on their However, it'd be great to be able to be able to seeing them
You're
Shit,
throwing.
these people don't write.
You're throwing.
However, I keep throwing, man. However, it would be great to be able to interact with the other fans on the app a bit more. So far, we're only able to reply to each other's comments. If we were able to get a following system, we'd be able to see the notifications of seeing when who've be followed comments on a past or whatever, that's a real sentence here. That's not me throwing. That's a real sentence.
What the hell?
Just an attempt to make new friends through the band. Also, the $4.99 is not that much for me, but it may be a little much for certain people like the younger fans. Yeah, you have to pay $4.99. I don't know if it's like a subscription service or if it's like a one-time thing. I wish it could be a little cheaper for more people to join, but I'm sure it's all good with a good reason. I haven't seen a live yet, so I can't. So she has the app, but she has yet to see a live stream. I haven't seen a live yet, so I can't speak just yet on the mechanic, but I can't wait, Heart. Overall, I think it's a great app for rushers. And if you can, you should definitely... And if you can, you should definitely consider getting it, smiley face. Ellipses, wishing the best for the guys. I know.
What's up, reelers? How's it going, reelers?
This one is from 3 out of 5 stars. This one is by Stellet, February 23rd, 2023. So this is a very recent review. Big Time Rush. Hi, Chelsea. I don't want to say their name. Hi. Big Time Rush. I've been thinking about you. I can hear all the movie inside of my head. I can hear you singing inside to my heart. I hope you've been doing good. Crazy a while. Hope you enjoy Big Time Rush. We've been thinking about your rest of my life forever. I always remember you. I trust you. I believe in you. Enjoy yourself. I always been thinking about you.
I think that should
5 stars. 5 out of 5.
That's a good one to end off of. Oh my god, that's crazy.
There's a lot more. There's a rabbit hole in the Apple reviews of the Big Time Rush.
They call them rushers.
That's what the one individual referred to themselves as. I don't see that in any of the other.
Maybe we should call our people reelers.
There's so many reviews here that say they wish they didn't have to pay for the app, but at least it's worth it. But then they go on to say that they haven't seen any live streams.
That's so weird.
Which is a big part of the app.
Yeah. I think I'm glad I'm not a BTR crazy stan, but oh yeah, that's the American word. We had I don't remember the Korean word, but we had gachakoi, and in America we have stan.
Dude, we do have stans.
Yeah.
But stan, doesn't that derive from like an Eminem song, or did Eminem just do a song based off the word?
No, it derives from Eminem, but the meaning is
it took on a meaning of its own.
It's like it's a crazy fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they try to
True.
turn it around by making it super fan, but no, it's a crazy fan. So we have our own term.
Right.
Call back to the last episode. You should go watch it. And I
Absolutely.
think, first of all, you're gonna be called the reelers now because I think Russia is really funny.
God,
I think that's funny. So like,
why? I don't.
what's up?
I don't know, man.
What's up? What's up, reelers?
What's up? Keep it realers for us,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Thanks.
What's up, reelers? We gotta
All
reel it
right.
in. But
End it there.
I
End
think
it
I
there. I was gonna do a recap of the topics we talked about.
I think this is a good spot to end. You want to do a recap? I'll let you have it.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening to this second episode of the Real Talk podcast.
No
I
way.
hope you enjoyed our conversations about Big Time Rush, our vague memory of them. Carlos Carlos Penavega, who is probably the best member out of the group. I hope you guys maybe enjoy the little rabbit hole of the Apple reviews of the Big Time Rush app. If any of you guys use the Big Time Rush app, let us know in the comments or let us know on the Discord. Is it worth the $4.99 a month, or is it you let us know.
Let us
I don't
know.
know
Yeah.
anything. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation about the musical instruments and like how competitive music
Music is.
and marching is. I hope you learned something about trussel rods. We did talk about it, but one of my favorite old instruments is the octo bass. Definitely look it
Nice.
up. Its practicality is ridiculous. It's very fun. Octo
I
bass.
hope you enjoyed
Uh,
our rant about musical instruments and also about how horrible Texas is and how horrible their insects and weather
Dude,
is.
Texas is ass.
Yeah, and
Texas is ass.
and whatever the fuck else we talked about. We talked about
Avatar, the
uh,
World of
we talked
Warcraft
about
movie, Mandarin versus Cantonese, and Blue
China,
Archive.
Muva. I could do it. Okay, but I'm gonna end this episode. But I'm telling you right now, I could probably do a whole podcast episode on why I like Blue Archive. But anyways,
Holy
keep
shit.
keep it real. That's our outro. We're gonna keep it real.
God.
No,
Do you
okay,
want
record
do you want
again.
to do that in unison maybe? Let's
3, 2.
Oh, okay.
Keep it real.
Okay, ready? On three. One. Wait,
Just
what are we
keep it
saying again?
real.
Keep it real realers or just keep it
1,
realers or
2,
keep it real?
3. Keep it
Okay.
real. Yeah.
All right,
Bye.
on three.
Bye.